Imagine a man who looked at morality, religion, truth, and even happiness and said, "Everything you believe is built on fear." That man was Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche was not a philosopher who tried to comfort humanity. He tried to wake it up. His ideas were dangerous, misunderstood, and often distorted, but they reshaped modern psychology, literature, and philosophy more than almost anyone else. This is Nietzsche's theory, explained clearly, deeply, and honestly. So, who was Nietzsche really? Friedrich Nietzsche lived in the 19th century, a time when religion ruled morality and tradition dictated truth. But Nietzsche saw something most people didn't. Society was living on borrowed beliefs, beliefs people followed not because they were true, but because they were safe. He believed humans were afraid of freedom, afraid of responsibility, afraid of creating their own values, and so they hid behind religion, morality, and social rules like a security blanket. This brings us to his most famous and most misunderstood declaration: God is dead. When Nietzsche said this, he wasn't celebrating atheism. He was diagnosing a crisis. He meant that traditional belief systems, like Christianity, no longer held real power in the modern world. Science, logic, and new ways of thinking had silently replaced religion as authority, but our morality was still pretending nothing had changed. This created a dangerous vacuum. If God is gone, who decides what is right and wrong? Who gives life meaning? Nietzsche's fear was not godlessness. His fear was meaninglessness, a vast emptiness he called nihilism. This is where one of Nietzsche's most powerful ideas comes in: his attack on modern morality. He divided morality into two types. First, there's master morality. This morality comes from a place of strength. It values courage, creativity, ambition, and self-esteem. Think of the ancient Greek heroes or Roman nobles. Their values were about excellence and power. Then, there's slave morality. This, Nietzsche argued, comes from weakness. It praises humility, obedience, guilt, and even suffering. It labels the traits of the powerful as evil and the traits of the meek as good. Why? Because the powerless needed a moral system that protected them from those with power. For Nietzsche, this wasn't about being cruel. It was about being honest. He believed morality had become a psychological weapon, used by the weak to restrain the strong. At the core of all Nietzsche's theories is one central idea: the will to power. Now, this sounds aggressive, but it's not what you think. Nietzsche didn't believe humans are driven mainly by pleasure or survival. He believed we are driven by the desire to expand, to overcome, and to assert ourselves. This isn't power over other people. It's power over chaos, power over our own fear, and power over our limitations. Creation is an act of the will to power. Personal growth is the will to power. Self-mastery is the ultimate expression of the will to power. When we suppress this fundamental drive, Nietzsche believed it leads to resentment, depression, and self-destruction. This leads us to his most misunderstood concept of all: the often translated as the overman or superman. This has absolutely nothing to do with race, dominance, or physical strength. The Übermensch is a philosophical ideal, a person who achieves a higher state of being. The Übermensch is someone who creates their own values, instead of just accepting society's. They take full responsibility for their life, good and bad. They live without needing external approval or validation, and most importantly, they turn suffering into strength, using life's hardships as fuel for growth. The Übermensch doesn't ask, "What should I be?" They ask, "What can I become?" This figure represents humanity's potential, not a new type of master. To see if you were ready for this kind of thinking, Nietzsche proposed a terrifying thought experiment: eternal recurrence. He asked you to imagine this. What if you had to live your life again? Exactly the same. Forever. Every joy, every pain, every mistake, every single regret, on an infinite loop. Would you curse your existence, or would you embrace it? Nietzsche believed that a truly strong individual, and Übermensch in the making, would say yes to life, even with all its suffering. To love your life so fully, so unconditionally, that you would be thrilled to repeat it. Eternally, that was his ultimate test of strength. So, Why is Nietzsche still considered dangerous today? Because he didn't offer comfort. He offered responsibility. He stripped away our excuses. He destroyed our moral crutches. He forced individuals to confront the deepest, most uncomfortable questions about themselves and their existence. That's why he is so often misunderstood. Because his philosophy asks something terrifying. If nothing and no one gives your life meaning, will you have the courage to create it yourself? Thanks for watching. If you found this exploration of Nietzsche's ideas valuable, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more deep dives into philosophy.